Hey everyone, here to go through the Dungeons and Dragons playtest feedback form, and hopefully all of you have had a chance to play it and try it out and have some thoughts about what your comments would be. I did a couple little polls. If I look on YouTube here, which of these do you most want Wizards of the Coast to drop? And weapon only PCs doing weapon damage crits is a big one there. And also on Twitter, same thing. On Twitter, it was tied with Inspiration on a 20. And then thing you most want to keep would be background feats. A little bit on Inspiration on a 20. So that was balanced on the YouTube polls. No half races was balanced on the YouTube polls. And then most want to keep with background feats and a little bit of everything else too on Twitter. All right, so let's go through the poll. Here we go. So, would you like to rate the material presented in Character Origins? Yes. What was the first edition of D&D that you played? First edition I played, I'm going to say basic, but it wasn't the basic version. I guess if you talk about Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, the first version was first edition. But I'll put basic there. I'll put first. That's probably what they intend. This is the one I started with. It was the Holmes basic edition. I got the second printing, bought it at a White Elephant store in Spokane, Washington. I was 9 years old, and here's what the inside of that book looked like. Up to level 3 characters, fighters, magic users, clerics, thieves. Had some really cool artwork, this cool dungeon in it, a sample adventure in it. So that's the one I started with in 1979. All right, next. Which of the following character origin options have you play tested? Well, kind of human, because we did the inspiration part of the humans, and I've just read the others. So I can't say I play tested any of the others. And here's the playtest book here, character races. The things about the character races that I liked or didn't like. Let's see here. How satisfied were you overall with the character design options presented in the article? Really, they're kind of neutral. I didn't have anything that really stood out. It's interesting how they do the half races here, children of different humanoid kinds. And what's lacking here is what they have in Tasha's, where you can just create a race basically by picking and choosing any of racial features. And I think that's something they should add. That'd be a good thing to add. I don't know if I'm a big fan of just how they did this. It feels like you pick either human or elf if you're human and elven ancestry. And it'd be nice if they had some way that you could pick parts of both. That'd be something nice to have. Any thoughts? Let's see, human. So I'm going to basically say, I guess I was satisfied with them all. Maybe I was dissatisfied because nothing really stood out. Yeah. I'm going to go with that. Well, nah. Just going to put the neutral answer on all those. Nothing stood out to me really big on the races. All right. Question number 5. How satisfied are you with the elements of human character option as presented in the article? So humans have resourceful, and that gives them inspiration. We'll talk about inspiration a little bit. I hope they change how inspiration works from the experience we had playing. Maybe your experiences were different, but to make that a main feature of being a human is kind of forcing inspiration to exist. So I'd like them to do something different there. So I'd say very dissatisfied on that. Skillful, 1 skill of your choice, and 1 feat of your choice. So it's neutral. Neutral on those. Dissatisfied. I'll lean toward dissatisfied. Comments. We'll say that tying, is that useful? Tying inspiration to a race is not something I want to see. All right, next. The rest of these I don't have very much on. So how satisfied are you with Ardlings? So Ardlings, they have angelic flight. Bonus action, you can fly basically for a round. I guess I'd say dissatisfied on that. Celestial Legacy, I like how they did all that. Now you can choose and the spells you get, so I'd say satisfied there on all of them. And damage resistance to radiant damage, I guess that's okay. No comments on them. Please correct required fields. Did I miss that one? There we go. Okay, then Dragonborn. So Dragonborn, I liked how they did where the damage is always increasing D10 plus your level. I like that. I wonder if they'll do more of that rather than having these graduated, at tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, they increase in a big chunk instead of gradually as you go up. I'd say I'm satisfied with that. Damage resistance, that's good. Dark vision, I think they should have dark vision. Do they have dark vision in the current edition? Let's look real quick. Races, and that might have changed. That's how it was in the player's handbook. For some reason, I think they didn't have dark vision. And that's really odd for a dragon who has extreme senses to not have dark vision. Yeah, so I like that they added that. Satisfied with that. And Draconic language is fine. No comments there. How satisfied are you with the elements of the dwarf character option as presented in the article? And if any of you have played any of these characters and have any thoughts on the actual races and stuff, that'd be great to hear. There wasn't much time for us to playtest. We're, running a campaign, and I'm putting the playtest stuff into the campaign. If a character wants to make a playtest-based race, they could, but it's a lot to retool your character to do that, and no one has so far. So most of the actual playtesting stuff we've done has been on like rules that affect everyone. Things like inspiration, automatically succeeding on 20, criticals only on character, weapon damage, that kind of stuff. Okay, so dark vision, yeah, that's good. Dwarven resilience, same as before, like that. Dwarven toughness, that's what the hill dwarves used to have. Now they all have it. It's a shame dwarves don't have any sub races like they used to, but they're not magical, and it seems like they did a lot of sub races for magical type characters. Forge wise, yeah, that's good. And then stone cunning, that's very interesting. Bonus action, you gain tremor sense with a range of 60 feet for 10 minutes. That's pretty powerful. Can that go through walls into the next room? Let's see, tremor sense is described below, so let's go look at it. Where is tremor sense? Should be in order here, right? Pinpoint location, creature, moving objects within a specified range, provided that the creature with tremor sense and anything it's detecting are both in contact with the same surface or same liquid. Be good for having an explanation on that. I'd say I'm dissatisfied with stone cutting in general. It needs to be kind of clarified. I don't think I want dwarves to know where everything is in any room within 60 feet, even beyond walls. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Leave a comment if you have some thought on that or if you tried that in game. Okay. Stone cutting. For stone cutting, maybe clarify if it goes through walls, etc. As in, what is same surface? Okay. Then elf character options. Elves have dark vision. That's good. Elven lineage. I think I like how they did everything with the different elven lineages. So I'm satisfied in all those. Ancestry, same as before. That's good. Keen senses, proficiency, perception, it's fine. Trance is fine. No big comments on elves. Gnome characters. So again, a race with no sub-races. Oh no, this one does have lineages. Okay. So dark vision, good. Should be 60 feet, right? Yeah. Cunning, yeah. Interesting. I think this used to be only for magical spells and effects. They would have that advantage. or the gnomish cunning. Let's look at what gnomes had before. Back to top, races. Gnome. And I think the gnome cunning against magic, and now it's all the time. I don't know. I think I probably would like it to still just be versus magic. So I'll say dissatisfied. Would like gnome cunning versus just magic. Greg, yeah, the playtest is on D&D Beyond. So if you go to D&D Beyond, back to the top here, go to sources, and you'll see the playtest stuff in the top left. So you can click on that. You can get the frequently asked questions here. You can click on character origins, which, if you notice, they just extended the response time to the 26th. I thought tomorrow was the last day you could respond, but it looks like we have another 10 days about, which is good, I think, if they're not ready to roll the next material out, to keep it open until they are ready for the next set of material. So you can download the PDF, take the survey. Of course, I did a video where I go through and all this highlighted content here that you can grab. It's in the description below for this current video. Okay, would like gnome cunning versus just magic. Gnome lineages, forest and rock. Gnome. Forest. Kind of the same thing, I think. Mending and prestidigitation for rock. They can make their little clockwork device. I'll say satisfied. I didn't look at those too carefully. Next on that. The halfling character options. No lineages for halflings. Will they get? Brave, advantage on saving throws versus frightened. I like that. Halfling nimbleness. Move through space to make creature that size larger. Yep, like that. Luck. 1 on D20. I think that was the same. Yep. And naturally stealthy. That's fine. All right. Next we have orcs. Adrenaline rush. So dash action is a bonus. Temporary hit points. That looks fine. Dark vision. That's good. Powerful build. That used to be reserved for like Goliaths and bigger. I think maybe no. There's something else we could probably get for an orc besides a powerful build. Relentless endurance. That's nice. I'll keep that. Okay. And then next is Tiefling. Dark vision, just like before. 60 feet, looks good. Fiendish Legacy Abyssal. Fiendish Legacy Abyssal. I like this Thonic, although I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Chthonic or Thonic? Resistance to Necrotic, False Life, Raven Enfeeblement. Raven Enfeeblement, I think, is kind of a weak spell, if I remember correctly. Nice if they had something better than that. Let's do that. It kind of fits with their poison. Well, no, they're not poison either. They're necrotic. What's a good 5th level or a 3rd level spell that does necrotic damage? How to think of that? Or 2nd level. These are all 2nd level spells. Okay. Abyssal. Chthonic, I'll put Satisfied, and Infernal looks good. And then Otherworldly Presence. Thaumaturgy like before, that's fine. All right, next is how satisfied were you overall with character background section as presented in the article? So in general, on character backgrounds, you get to pick your ability scores, either one of them with +2 and one of +1, or 3 of them with +1. Choose 2 skills, choose 1 tool, choose 1 language. And the default now is to build your own background. And they have samples here. I don't know exactly how I feel about the background feat, because I don't see a lot of people will take the ones that are like crafter and skilled that go with those backgrounds that they give examples of, but just a little bit more power for the characters. As long as the monsters get more damage, I think that might be okay. So overall character background, I'd say satisfied overall. Next, how satisfied were you with the elements of the character background section as presented in the article? Ability scores, I like how they do that. Although they might as well take the standard array and already modify it by these ability choices and list several standard arrays that are all acceptable just to cut that step out. So I'll say satisfied. Make several pre-built standard arrays, including modifiers. And you can really just get rid of that step altogether and not even have this discussion of ability scores, because they're not really a background feature. They're just a character feature. Add that here. I mean, I guess if you implement backgrounds as being mandatory for the sample backgrounds instead of just build your own, then it's okay, I guess. So ability scores are more a character feature under build your own. Okay, skill proficiencies is fine, 2 skills. Background features fine, 1 tool. Language, 1 language. And really that's the character feature. I mean, I guess if you're doing the sample backgrounds, it's different. Background features the feat. I think it's okay. And equipment. I like how they standardized and made all the equipment the same. 50 gold pieces is starting equipment. Every sample, this all adds up to 50. That's a good little change that I made. So I like that. I'll say very satisfied. Okay, next. Which of these backgrounds have you play tested? Let's see, there's one character who is an alkalite. Is that a choice? Not a choice. I don't think any others. Guide. So none. How satisfied are you with the following backgrounds printed in the article? I think they're all fine. Anyone have a favorite background? I mean, some of them are clearly more beneficial to adventurers, and some of them are clearly more background focused. Halfling, a farmer gets tough. Savage attacker, magic initiate. Yeah, I'm just gonna say satisfied with all of them. I don't know all of them. Don't want to weigh the response if anyone's really looked at it carefully on those things. Backgrounds, nope. Next. Do you use feats when playing 5th edition? Always. Which of these feats have you play tested? Tough. Magic Initiate. Savage Attacker. And Tavern Brawler. Got all those amongst our characters that we're playing the Spelljammer Academy with. How satisfied are you with the elements of the feats section as presented in the article? Okay, so let's look at feats in detail. A lot of people like this alert feat. I don't know that I like the initiative swap because it just slows down getting into the action. So I'm going to go with dissatisfied for that. Maybe very dissatisfied. I think I'm probably in the minority largely on that one because everything I've read, people really like that. So a init swap would delay the action at the start of a combat. And I like to just jump right in and get it going fast. Okay, crafter. They have the 20% discount on what you craft. There should be an upper limit on that. So I'll put dissatisfied there. And crafter should have an upper limit. On cost. Healer. Okay, healer used to be an awesome feat. Now, much less awesome. I think that's probably good. Is really overpowered compared to other feats, so I'd say satisfied on that. Lucky. It's a lot of lucky when you get it every proficiency bonus. But at least it's 2 instead of 3 at low levels. I don't know if I'd rather keep it at just 3 or do proficiency bonus. Overall, I'm just not a big fan of the lucky feat anyway. Magic Initiate's fine. And I like that they're doing the thing where you can always have that spell prepared. You can cast it once without a spell slot, and you regain the ability to cast it when you finish a long rest with spell slots. So I think that's a good idea. Musician. That really gains its whole benefit from how they're doing inspiration. So musician's going to have to change if they change the inspiration. I think they probably should. So I'll just put dissatisfied on that. Tie musician's benefit not to inspiration. Savage attacker. It's kind of annoying when you have to roll multiple dice and pick the higher one. You can use the benefit only once per turn. I don't know. Is there some better way to do that overall? Is a static bonus damage better overall? I'm just slightly dissatisfied with Savage Attacker, but I don't know what to make it better with. Skilled is like it's always been. 3 skills. That's fine. Tavern Brawler is kind of fun looking. I kind of like how they're doing the unarmed combat. We'll see. I'll leave it satisfied. And tough, the same as it always was, is fine. Yeah, you're right, Greg. What's the reason for taking role-playing type feats? I guess it really depends on the type of game you play in, whether there's a lot of combat or a lot of role-playing. I know my games are much heavier in combat than role-playing, so we definitely look at the feats that help that more often. How satisfied were you with the elements of the Rules Glossary section as presented in the table? Okay, here's the big one. So D20 test. Do we like a 20 always succeeding and a 1 always failing? It's prone to a lot of abuse with skill checks. A DM's got to be very resistant to players asking randomly to make skill checks and only let them make skill checks when the DM asks for them. So I can see a problem there with that. It's tied to inspiration, and we'll discuss that in a second. So I'm a little bit dissatisfied, I'd say, overall with the D20 test. Let's see. So D20 test. D20 test. Prone to abuse. With players always asking for skill checks. Skill or ability checks. So that should be addressed a little bit in order to get inspiration. And that's something, I don't know if it's something that they can just put right into the rules saying they only can make them when the DM says you make them. We'll see. Okay, Grappled Condition. So Grappled used to just give you a speed of 0. And that's all it did. The crafter stack with artificer's discount, does it apply to magic items, scrolls, or potions, for example? Good question. That'd be something they should clarify there. Zafad. Okay, so D20 test, prone to abuse, with players always asking for skill checks in order to gain inspiration. Grappled Condition. Grappled used to give you a speed of 0, and you did not have any effect on your attacks, but it makes sense you'd have disadvantage. That might make grappling characters extra powerful, so it's going to have to be kind of balanced across the whole game system. I didn't like how you could just move anyone at whim if you were grappling them, so it's good that they put something to slow that down. And while grappled, you can make a dexterity strength saving throw. The end of each of your turns, and in the condition also ends. I liked it to Okay, that's fine, but I'd still like you to be able to use your action to try and escape at the same time. So I'd say a little bit dissatisfied, and can grapple be escaped with an action? Okay, incapacitated. Inactive, no concentration. That used to be kind of buried, if I'm right about that. It was hard to find, actually, that you lost concentration. Let's see how buried it was. Up here. I've never looked up conditions quickly here, so I guess I'll have to go to the player's handbook. Look in the glossary here, or somewhere near the very end there. Conditions, Appendix A. And so incapacitated, what did it used to say? Can't take actions or reactions. Yeah. And so the stuff about losing concentration was somewhere else, and it told you if you were incapacitated, you lose it. So that's a good addition that they put that there. Because if you just looked in the glossary, you wouldn't find it. Can't speak, that's good. Yeah, I like all those changes to incapacitated. I think that's all good. So grappled, dissatisfied, incapacitated, I'd say very satisfied. Inspiration, here's the big one. What do you guys think about inspiration? What I saw in the games that we've run so far with inspiration was if you were doing good and rolling lots of 20s, you got lots of inspiration when you didn't need it because you're already doing good, you're always winning. If you're doing bad, not rolling any 20s, rolling ones, you didn't get inspiration when you do need it. So I didn't like that aspect of it. In one of our games, only like one person ever got inspiration. Another game, the whole party had it by the end of the session, and people were using it multiple times. So I'm not a big fan of getting inspiration for rolling a 20 on a test. I think it'd be better not to have that. Put it back in the hands of the DM to use as a tool. Because when I DM and I'm looking to award inspiration, I do it to reward engagement, reward role playing, and also it's a good tool to help a party that's in danger. If a party's in trouble, you can kind of accelerate how fast you're awarding inspiration for things to help get them out. And if it's just at the whim of the dice and they're rolling sucky and it's all ones all the time and no one has inspiration, that's no good. Now, of course, you can always, I think, still add it. But for the reason of when everyone's rolling 20s, everyone has inspiration, it just makes the game more swingy. And I don't know. I mean, it feels great to roll a 20, but like we had for the tests that I said, if it's to every check, then people will be wanting to roll checks all the time. So I think overall, I'd like to see it removed from the D20 test. That's my position. So I'm going to put very dissatisfied with that. What are you guys' thoughts? I'd like to see. Inspiration on a D20 removed. On a 20 removed. Let's look at what my voting was. So most want them to drop. A couple votes for inspiration and a couple votes most want to keep. So some people liked it, some people didn't. Most want them to keep. A couple votes for inspiration. Most want them to drop. A lot of votes for inspiration. So it's kind of mixed. I think people either really like it or really don't like it. I'm in the I think really don't like camp after playtesting it. Okay, long rest. I think that's about the same as before. No big changes there. Satisfied. Slowed condition. I guess it's good to have a condition for that since it's referenced by if you're grappling and trying to move someone. I guess I'm okay with that in general. Unarmed Strike. We didn't really have a chance to do this much. I mean, unarmed strikes don't come up much when you're armed. You're not using them very often. We did have a shove. Oh, I did the shove wrong, though. I think we had players try to do a shove a couple times. And if you're doing shoves or push people back or down, why do you have to be unarmed? Each class had a ability to spend inspiration on this currency. Good question, Greg. We haven't seen the classes yet, so they could have that. We'll see how they do. Okay, so unarmed strike, melee attack, damage, grapple, or shove. You just rolled a hit. On a hit, causes one of the following. Ooh, I don't like that. It used to be a opposed check, and now you just, if you hit, you push them, or if you hit, you knock them prone. Really? Ooh, yeah, I don't like that at all. Unarmed strike, I like some of the aspects of it. I don't like some of the aspects. Yeah, a huge problem, I think, Greg, is a lot of DMs just don't award inspiration. So, I do a lot of my games where I start with everyone starts with inspiration, and I award it often, but I've played lots and lots of games where there's no inspiration. So I can definitely see why players would like to have it. So, okay, so on a hit, your arm strike causes one of the following effects of your choice. Wow, you hit and you just shove them. I don't like that at all. So I'm going to go very dissatisfied. Arm strike. The damage is fine. That's fine. The auto shove and auto grapple I don't like. Yeah, when we did our playtest, someone tried to shove someone and I just did it the old way, not even thinking they had changed that. Don't like auto shove, auto grapple on a hit. Arcane spell list, I like all that. And divine and primal. I think that's all fine. All right. Any comments there from anyone? A Thrycreen monk could hit and grapple 4 people in a turn. What's the problem with the shove? The problem with the shove. Okay, so before the rules for shoving. Let's see if we can find the old rules for shoving here. Where would we find that? Probably in combat. Actions in combat. Let's look at there. Could it be under make an attack? Attack rolls. Melee attacks, 2 fighting, grappling. Here we go. Okay, shoving. Using the attack action, you can make a special melee attack to shove a creature, either to knock it prone or push it away from you. If you're able to make multiple attacks with attack action, you can replace each of them individually or not with it. There's a limit before in the size. Now there's not a limit on the size, except for the grapple aspect, but not for the shove. Oh, there's a limit on the shove. One size larger. Okay, that's good. But when you made the attack, you still had to make a strength athletics check and beat their athletics or their acrobatics. And now, when you make the attack, you just push. And that's it. They have no chance of not being pushed. So you could, push them into lava or whatever, and they're out of luck if they got hit by you. Now you could say, well, why are you doing 2 checks to do it? You already had to do a check against the armor class. So I could see why maybe they're thinking it'd simplify the game a little bit. Right? You have to hit the armor class. So it does simplify the game with 1 less check to make. Using your body, so you should be able to do it when you're armed. You just basically headbutt someone in or shove someone in with your shoulder. But that's why I don't like it. It seems too strong to be able to just hit someone and push them 5 feet, or just hit them and knock them prone with no save on being knocked prone. I mean, that's a not champion fighter, but a battlemaster fighter power, and there's a save versus it even. Or if you do it with the shoving a creature, there's a check to resist it. So that's my thoughts on that. All right, let's go to the next one. We're getting actually near the end here. How satisfied are you with elements of D20 test as presented on the table? Rolling a 1, always failing. I don't know. I think I like that skills didn't have that, because if you're good enough, you shouldn't be failing a check. That's easy. So I guess dissatisfied. Rolling a 20, always exceeding. Dissatisfied. Critical hits. I wonder if they'll talk about these outside of the D20 test. I think I was very dissatisfied after playing it. It kind of made rolling a 20 less fun. I mean, you got inspiration, right? You got inspiration, which I don't really like, but took a lot of the wind out of the sails of all the casters who would hit with a ranged spell attack. So I'm going to say very, very dissatisfied. Bring back spell criticals. I guess I'm neutral on monsters critting. I think monsters need to do a lot more damage in general to be real threats. And a critical happening one time out of every 20 attacks doesn't give them the bite that they need to have anyway. So it's not really, doesn't really matter. Bring back spell criticals. I'm fine with monster criticals not coming back. But monsters do more damage all the time. And I guess I'm fine with no monster criticals too, because the only time I've accidentally killed characters in games was, first level characters getting critical hits against them from a monster and going from full hit points to dead in one shot. I was running a game one time at a convention, and it was like the first round of the first game I ran that happened. And that, so yeah, I would love to see that not happen. I rolled out in the open, so I could just pretend like that didn't happen. But anyway, it'd be nice to have that not happen like that. Okay. How satisfied are you with elements of inspiration as presented in the article? Gaining inspiration. So you can gain it by being a human. You can gain it by rolling a 20. You can gain it by the musician feat. So pretty much dissatisfied with all of that. I'd much rather the inspiration be the hands of the DM. Only one at a time. I'm happy with that. Losing inspiration. Because you lose it at the end of a day, right? I think that's it. Let's look at inspiration. If you still have inspiration when you start a long rest, you lose that inspiration. I don't know. That wasn't a rule before, and yeah, I don't really like that. And my comment would be, please put in, and again, the reason for it was it seemed like it was feast or famine. If the party was doing great, they were getting a lot of inspiration when they didn't need it, and vice versa. When they needed it, they weren't getting it. Please put good. Now, as a player, I most often resign myself to never getting inspiration because most DMs don't award it. So that's a good reason for it to be in there. I mean, I'm not hard. I wouldn't quit D&D if they left it, obviously. Okay, next. How satisfied are you with the elements of long rest? Benefits of the rest? Interrupting the rest? That's fine. Both of them, I think. Any additional comments? Not really. I like how it's starting. I like that they're asking us all these questions. I would not want to be in their shoes, taking all the heat they will take as people lose the things they love. Like I said, if there's stuff they do that I don't like, I wouldn't quit D&D over it. I think they're going in overall pretty good shape. All right. That is the feedback. Let's see if there's anything else. Just for classification purposes, 52. Prefer not to answer. Next. And next. That is it. All right. Go fill out the form. Any feedback you can give is good. Playtest it if you can. I'll be playtesting more as we do our regular campaigns. I'm looking forward to the next set of Unearthed Arcana. The playtest is open, it looks like, for 10 more days, so looks like we have a little bit more to wait. I will talk to you guys all again later. Bye.